I discovered my wife's hidden secrets just before the wedding. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. My hands are shaking so hard, I almost dropped the ring box on the hotel carpet. In 2 days, I'm supposed to stand under an arch of white roses and say vows in front of both our families, our friends, the photographer Claire hired 6 months ago, and the pastor she insisted we meet twice, so it feels personal. Instead, I'm staring at my laptop, open to a bank alert that isn't mine. I'm Noah, 31, the kind of guy who reads the city code manual for fun because I do inspections for the county. Boring job, stable paycheck, good credit. Claire calls it safe in a sexy way. She's 29, all warmth and competence, color-coded wedding spreadsheets, handwritten thank you notes, the kind of smile that makes waiters give us free dessert. Tonight, she's asleep in the other room, mascara wiped clean, one arm flung over my jacket like she owns it. I'm awake because my phone buzzes at 11:47 p.m. with a notification from my credit monitoring app. New inquiry, Westbridge Community Bank. I haven't applied for anything. I haven't even bought a couch this year. I click the details, expecting a glitch. The screen loads and shows a name attached to the inquiry, Elena Hart. My address, my social, partially masked, and a loan type, personal, expedited. For a stupid second, my brain tries to make it normal. Maybe Westbridge is running a pre-approval because Claire and I are meeting with their mortgage guy next month. Maybe it's tied to the venue payment, $8 for 100 due the morning after the rehearsal dinner. Claire has been pushing hard for us to combine everything right away and asked me last week to email her a scan of my driver's license for the vendor file. I did it without thinking. I tell myself it's identity theft. Random. Not Claire. Not the woman who just kissed my forehead and whispered, 2 more sleeps. Then I open the attached PDF and see her handwriting in the signature box. I zoom in until the pixels blur. The signature matches her love notes, and my stomach drops like a stone. 2 weeks earlier, if you'd asked me what could go wrong, I would have laughed. Claire and I are the couple our friends use as proof that nice still exists. We meet at a volunteer cleanup by the river, me in county boots, her in a sundress with gardening gloves that look like they came from a catalog. She teases me about measuring trash piles like an inspection, and I tease her back about organizing strangers like a project manager. It feels easy. By the time I propose, she has already won my mom over with banana bread and my dad over with quiet, respectful questions. She never tries to dominate a room. She just makes people feel seen. Wedding planning becomes her sport. She has color tabs for vendors, a running list of who needs gluten-free meals, and a Pinterest board titled Calm Elegance that somehow makes me believe I'm capable of calm or elegance. There are little things I file under, everyone has quirks. She keeps her phone face down. If it lights up, she flips it over like it burns. She goes for walks at odd times and comes back too energized, like she just had a meeting. When I ask about her childhood, she gives polished answers, moved around a bit. Mom wasn't really in the picture, then redirects to mine. Her sister Marin is the one glitch in the fairy tale. Marin smiles, but it never reaches her eyes. At brunch, she clinks her mimosa against Claire's and says, "You finally found someone stable." The word stable lands heavy, like a warning. Claire squeezes my knee under the table and changes the subject. My best friend Jace, who can smell a lie like smoke, tells me, "She's intense, man. Just keep your eyes open." I roll my eyes because Jace distrusts anyone who can plan. Now, staring at that bank inquiry, I remember the way Claire asked for my documents. Sweet voice, practice smile, no room for no. And suddenly every quirk rearranges into a pattern I can't unsee, no matter how I blink. When I tiptoe to her purse, my fingers brush 2 different IDs. I hate snooping. I'm the guy who returns extra change to cashiers. But fear makes you do math you didn't know you could do. Claire's purse is on the chair by the door, spilling a lipstick, a tiny bottle of perfume, and the folder she keeps our vendor contracts in. I don't dig through makeup. I go straight for what I'm already staring at in my mind, paper. Her wallet has my favorite photo of us, snow on our hair, her laughing with her eyes closed. Behind it are 2 IDs. One is Claire Bennett, her face, her real address from before we move in together. The other is the same face with a different haircut and a different name, Elena Hart. Different state, different number, same eyes. My mouth goes dry. I tell myself it's a prank, or an old fake from college, or something for a play. But Claire doesn't do random. Claire does purpose. I don't wake her. I do the only thing I can think of. I look for a trail that doesn't involve my imagination. Her phone screen has been cracked since she dropped it at the gym, and she asked me yesterday to pick it up from the repair shop because she doesn't have time with fittings. The receipt is in the folder. It's addressed to Elena Hart. Under Services, there's a line item I didn't expect, SIM swap plus eSIM activation. Then a second line, data transfer, device B. Device B. I take a picture of the receipt with my phone, hands sweating so much I almost blur it. At the bottom is a pickup code and an address for a storage unit facility in the next suburb over, handwritten like a note to self. Unit 14C, bring keys. Claire doesn't own a storage unit. We're building a life in a one-bedroom with 2 mini wedding boxes already. I stare at Unit 14C until it feels like a dare. I walk into the kitchen like nothing is wrong. Claire is in a hoodie, humming at the kettle. She kisses my cheek, mint and warmth, and it almost resets my brain. Sleep okay? She asks. Yeah, I lie. Her phone buzzes. She flips it face down in one smooth motion. Errands, she says, too cheerful. At 7:12 a.m., my phone shows a text from her. Morning, love, coffee? A second later, an unknown number calls, and the caller ID reads Westbridge. I let the Westbridge call go to voicemail because answering feels like stepping off a cliff. I tell myself to breathe, to be rational, to not ruin my own wedding over a coincidence. Lots of people share names. Lots of systems glitch. Maybe Elena Hart is a previous tenant and Westbridge fat-fingered my address. Maybe Claire found an old ID and kept it because she's sentimental in a weird way. Then the voicemail transcription pops up. Hello, Noah. This is Westbridge Community Bank's fraud prevention. We need to verify an application submitted under Elena Hart using your social security number. Please call us back immediately. Using my social. My ears ring. I walk out to my car, sit in the driver's seat, and call the number back with my hands locked on the steering wheel. A woman named Sandra asks me to confirm my identity. I do. She reads me the application. Expedited personal loan, $28,500, direct deposit into a new checking account opened yesterday. Yesterday? I repeat, like my brain can't keep up. Yes, sir. The account was opened in branch with 2 forms of ID, she says. The signature matches the application. My head snaps to the apartment window. Claire is inside, packing place cards into a box, moving like everything is normal. I didn't do that. I say, voice too calm for how I feel. I need you to freeze it. We already flagged it, Sandra says, then hesitates. Sir, would you like to place a security hold on your credit file? I say yes. I say yes to everything that sounds like protection. When I hang up, I see the mailman tuck an envelope into our box. I jog over and pull it out before it even settles. It's addressed to Elena Hart. At my address, with the Westbridge logo in the corner. I stand there in the sun, holding proof like it's burning my fingers, and I realize I'm not dealing with a misunderstanding. I'm dealing with planning. Inside, Claire calls out, Babe, can you grab the seating chart? I slide the envelope into my jacket and answer, sure. Because if I don't act normal, she'll know I'm awake. That night, a debt collector texts me a screenshot of our contract. The contract shows my SSN beside Elena Hart's name in bold letters. I don't sleep. I lie next to Claire and listen to her breathe like nothing is wrong. And I wonder if this is what it feels like to share a bed with a stranger. At 6 a.m., when she's in the shower, I slip out with my laptop and the Westbridge envelope. I tell myself I'm not accusing her. I'm collecting facts, because facts don't gaslight you. First stop is the county courthouse records room, the place I usually visit for work. I know the clerks. I know how to ask without sounding like a man unraveling. I search Elena Hart in the public index, expecting nothing, praying for nothing. Something pops up. A rental dispute from 3 years ago. Same suburb as the storage unit address. The plaintiff, Elena Hart. The defendant, Westbrook Storage and Lock. My stomach flips. I pay $2 for a printout and stare at the listed phone number. It's not Claire's, but the last 4 digits are the same as the unknown number that called me yesterday. I pull marriage records next because my brain keeps circling one thought. Why would anyone create a whole second identity unless they needed it for something legal? I type in the date range. Another hit. A marriage license application. Not finalized. Filed 18 months ago under Elena Hart. No spouse name listed. Pending. Like someone started a life and then paused it. My hands get cold. I check business filings. Hart Consulting LLC. Registered 2 years ago. Using a P.O. box across town. The registered agent's name isn't Claire. It's Maren Bennett. Claire's sister. In the parking lot, I call Jace, but I hang up before it rings. If I pull him in, it becomes real. If I keep going alone, maybe I can still pretend I'm in control. I drive to the storage facility with the address from the repair receipt, trying to convince myself I'm just confirming something innocent. Wedding decor overflow. A surprise for me. Anything. The gate code on the receipt works. Unit 14C is at the end of a row, the kind of place people hide what they don't want in their living rooms. There's a new padlock on it. Shiny. Expensive. And hanging from the lock is a keychain I recognize. Our apartment spare key. I slide my key into the padlock, and it turns too easily. Inside the unit, a stack of IDs sits on a folding table like a shrine. The storage unit smells like dust and cheap plastic. Someone has set it up with intention. Folding table, portable lamp, labeled folders. It's organized the way Claire organizes our wedding binder, and that makes my skin crawl. On the table are at least 20 IDs, driver's licenses from different states, passports, a few social security cards in clear sleeves. Not fake-looking, either. Real faces. Real names. Someone's entire life flattened into rectangles. I don't touch them. I take photos, wide shot, close-ups, the labels on the folders. One folder reads, Westbridge, approved. Another says, venue, final payment. Another, Noah K. Merge. My heart pounds so hard I feel it in my teeth. I back out and lock the unit with shaking hands. In my car, I finally call Jace, and the second he answers I hear myself say, I think my fiancé is stealing identities. There's a pause, then his voice goes low. Where are you? 20 minutes later, he pulls up in his Tacoma, hair wet, like he drove straight out of a shower. I show him the photos. He doesn't joke. He doesn't tell me I'm paranoid. He just exhales slowly and says, okay, we do this smart. He makes me freeze my credit with all 3 bureaus. He makes me change my bank passwords and set up 2-factor authentication that goes only to my phone. He reminds me that in our state, recording a call is legal if one party consents, but he also warns, if you go vigilante, you can screw yourself. What do? I ask, and I hate how small my voice sounds. First, he says, you protect you. Then you figure out what this is. And you do not confront her alone. I want to argue, because I've spent months imagining Claire and me as a team, and this turns us into opponents. But Jace is right. Claire has been planning. I've been loving. As we talk, my email pings. It's from the wedding venue. Reminder, final payment tomorrow. We have updated banking instructions. Attached is a PDF. Jace opens it, and his eyebrows jump. Dude, he says, pointing at the routing number. This account isn't the venue's. My stomach drops again. Whose is it? He zooms in on the beneficiary line, and I feel my throat close. It reads, Hart Consulting, LLC. And underneath, in tiny text, it lists Maren Bennett as the contact person. We move like we're defusing a bomb. I go to work and pretend to care about handrail spacing while my mind stays in that storage unit. On my break, I drive to a Westbridge branch and show the updated wiring instructions from the venue email. The banker's smile tightens. That routing number isn't your vendor, she says. I know, I reply. My identity was used yesterday. I need to know if my name is tied to this. A manager pulls me into a glass office, checks my ID, and types fast. Then he slides a printout across the desk. Mr. Keller, your social is on a joint signature card opened yesterday, he says. Primary, Elena Hart. Secondary, Noah Keller. I stare at the signature line. It looks like Claire's handwriting wearing a mask. Same loops. Same little flick at the end. It wasn't me, I say. We froze the account, he replies. If fraud is confirmed, law enforcement will need to be involved. That evening, Jace drives me to Maren's townhouse. I still don't know why I'm going. Hope, denial, or the stupid belief that family will protect family. Maren opens the door in a blazer like she's ready for court, not a conversation. I hold up the wire PDF. Why is your name the contact for heart consulting? Marin's smile wobbles. Claire asked me to help. It's complicated. Complicated like forging my signature? Jace asks. Marin flinches at the word forging. Her eyes dart past us, like she expects Claire to be standing behind my shoulder. Can we not do this outside? I step in anyway and lower my voice. I found the storage unit, Marin. Her face drains so fast it looks painful. She whispers, Noah, you shouldn't have opened that. What is she doing? I ask. Who is Elena Hart? Marin swallows hard. Elena is one of the names. There are others. Claire moves debt and money through people who can't fight back, then makes it look clean. Clean how? I ask. Her voice breaks. By marrying someone with good credit and no history. My chest goes tight. Me? Marin nods once, miserable. She isn't stealing from you, Noah. She's using you to close the circle. Then her phone rings. She glances at the screen and goes pale. She's in my driveway. The headlights sweep across the living room wall like a spotlight on a crime scene. Claire walks in, hair glossy, cheeks pink from the cold. She sees me and beams. There you are? Marin, you didn't tell me Noah was here. Marin doesn't answer. Jace stands a half step behind me. Claire's eyes flick to the Westbridge printout in my hand. A tiny pause, then the smile returns, brighter. What's going on? I keep my voice level. Why is my social on an account with Elena Hart? Silence. Claire inhales slowly. That's not what you think, she says, like she's already rehearsed the line. Then tell me. I reply. Her gaze snaps to Marin, sharp. Marin. Marin's hands shake. Stop, she whispers. He found the unit. Claire's face tightens for one heartbeat. Then she reaches for my hand. Noah, please. 2 days. Don't let paperwork ruin us. Paperwork. I pull my hand away. There are dozens of IDs in that unit. Dozens. What are you doing? Her eyes fill with tears, fast, controlled. I help people, she says. People the system chews up. Jace finally speaks. By taking loans in their names? Claire's tears vanish like a switch flips. She looks at him with pure irritation. You don't know anything about me. That's the problem, I say. Claire sits, shoulders dropping like she's tired of pretending. Fine, she says. It isn't cheating. It isn't a secret boyfriend. It's money, Noah. Names. Credit. The kind of stuff you never notice until it eats you. She admits she's been using multiple identities for years. She started with small workarounds to get deposits approved, then learned how to open accounts, move balances, and make paper trails look clean. Elena Hart is just the name she uses when she needs something to look stable. And now? I ask. Claire lifts her chin. Now I need a life that can absorb the mess. A husband with good credit. A clean history. My throat goes dry. Me. Claire looks at me, eyes clear and focused. I'm not hurting you, she says. I'm building us. Tomorrow, at the venue office, you'll sign documents for the vendor payments and the joint account. I shake my head. I'm not signing anything. Claire smiles, small and certain. You will if you want your name to survive what's coming. Then she slides a folder across the table with my signature already printed inside. Claire leaves Marin's place like she owns the air. I don't stop her. Jace drives me home and takes my keys, like I'm drunk. We don't react, he says. We document. So we do. We print the Westbridge signature card photo and the wire PDF. We log times, the credit inquiry, the fraud voicemail, the venue email. We screenshot my credit report showing the new inquiry and the freeze. Jace makes me write down every time Claire asked for my documents and every time she insisted we combine everything early. I call the venue and ask who changed the wiring instructions. The receptionist says, too casually, Claire called. She said you wanted it routed through your new business account. My stomach drops. Did she send you anything? A form with signatures, she replies. Very official. Jace knows a detective from his gym, Ruiz. He texts him, friend might be victim of identity fraud. Need advice. Ruiz calls back fast, voice flat and professional. If you have forged applications, freeze credit and secure your accounts, Ruiz says. Bring originals to the station. And don't confront her alone. I found a storage unit, I admit. Ruiz pauses. Keys don't always equal permission, he says. Be careful, Noah. That word, careful, becomes my religion. We decide on a plan that makes my skin crawl. I act normal long enough to get Claire to show her hand. Tomorrow there's a final payment appointment at the venue office. Claire scheduled it. She thinks I'll be there to sign and wire money. If we can get her to bring the documents or to admit what she's doing, Ruiz can move faster. But every hour I pretend is an hour she can move money, open accounts, hurt someone else. If I blow up too soon, she disappears and the paper trail goes dark. Jace watches me stare at the ring on my dresser. You can love her, he says, and still stop her. At 9:03 p.m., Claire texts, "Tomorrow is important. Please don't embarrass me." A minute later, an unknown email arrives. Subject line: "If you talk to police, you won't make it to the altar." Attached is a photo of my apartment door, taken from the hallway an hour ago. I don't tell Claire about the email. I don't even tell my mom. Jace sleeps on my floor with his shoes on. In the morning, Claire calls, voice bright. "I'm bringing you breakfast," she says. "We need to reset. Yesterday was weird." Weird. Like weather. When she arrives, she's carrying breakfast and wearing my Christmas sweater. She kisses me like she's reclaiming territory. Her eyes scan the apartment in one quick sweep, too fast to be casual. "You look tired," she says, setting the food down. "You're spiraling." I didn't sleep, I admit. She sits beside me and threads her fingers through mine, slow and practiced. "Noah, I love you," she says. "I'm building a life with you. Don't let Jace poison you." My stomach twists. "Why are you talking about Jace?" Claire's smile doesn't move. "Because he's always around when you get anxious," she says. "And because Marin told me you two showed up at her house like detectives." So Marin told her. Or Claire already knew. I keep my voice even. "Someone used my social at Westbridge." Claire sighs like I'm a child who found a scary headline. "Identity theft is everywhere," she says. "That's why we need to merge our finances. It protects us. One unit. One story." "One story," I repeat. She leans in and presses her forehead to mine. "Listen," she whispers. "After tomorrow, none of this matters. We sign, we wire, we move forward. If you make a scene at the venue, you embarrass me in front of everyone I've worked so hard to impress." There it is. The first honest thing she's said. Public image matters. I pull back. "Claire, are you Elena Hart?" For the first time, she looks genuinely irritated. "Names are tools," she says flatly. "Stop being dramatic." Then her phone buzzes. She glances, and her eyes harden. "We're running late," she says, standing up. "Get your jacket." "Late for what?" I ask. Claire smiles again, but it doesn't touch her eyes. "For the appointment you promised me," she says. "And for the papers you're going to sign." I look past her, and my blood runs cold. The hallway camera outside my door is covered with a piece of black tape. Claire's gaze follows mine, and she says quietly, "Good, it worked." At the venue office, everything smells like expensive flowers. The coordinator, a woman named Trish with perfect eyeliner, greets us like we're a commercial. "Bride and groom," she chirps. "Final details." Claire squeezes my arm hard enough to hurt. Her smile is flawless. "Jace isn't here, that's the deal." Claire refused to come if your weird friend was present. But Ruiz is parked outside in an unmarked car, watching through the lobby windows like he's waiting for a bus, not a crime. He told me to keep my phone recording and push for specifics. Trish leads us into a small conference room. There's a folder on the table and a tablet open to a payment portal. Claire sits closest to the documents, like she's protecting them. "We just need the final payment of $8,400 today," Trish says. "After that, we're locked in." Claire laughs lightly. "Locked in," she repeats, and her eyes flick to me. I clear my throat. "Before we pay, I need to confirm the banking instructions changed yesterday." Trish nods. "Yes, you requested a business routing for tax reporting." Claire sent the form. I look at Claire. "Why did you tell them that?" Claire's smile tightens. "Because it's true," she says. "We're a unit now. It's cleaner." "Is the account Hart Consulting?" I ask. Trish blinks. "That's what's on the form, yes." Claire places her hand on the folder and slides it toward me. "Sign," she says softly, like she's offering peace. Then we stop fighting. I open the folder. There are multiple signature tabs. One is labeled Joint Account Authorization. Another is Guarantor Addendum. My name is printed everywhere like it already belongs there. And the signatures are already in place, in ink that looks fresh. My signature, or something pretending to be. I glance up and meet Claire's eyes. For the first time, There's no sweetness at all, only certainty. You don't want to do this, I whisper. Claire leans closer so Trish can't hear. You're already in it, she murmurs. Pay, smile, and we both survive. Behind her, through the glass wall, I see Detective Ruiz stand up from the lobby chair. He walks toward the conference room door, and Claire's eyes flick past me to him. She whispers, almost fondly, You brought the police, so I brought insurance. Ruiz knocks once and steps in before anyone can stop him. Trish, the coordinator, blinks like she's watching a scene from a show. Is everything okay? She asks. No, I say. My voice comes out steady, almost professional. I'm not authorizing any payment, and my identity has been used for fraud. Claire turns to Trish with a perfect smile. Trish, can you give us 5 minutes? Ruiz flashes his badge. Actually, I'd like you to stay, he says. You may be a witness. Claire's expression tightens for the first time. Ruiz points at the folder. Mr. Keller says those signatures aren't his. They're his, Claire snaps. He's panicking. I slide my own packet across the table. The Westbridge signature card with my SSN, the wire instructions listing Hart Consulting LLC, and photos from the storage unit. IDs lined up, folders labeled Westbridge, approved, venue, final payment, and Noah K. Merge. Trish's eyes go wide. Oh my God, she whispers. Ruiz doesn't raise his voice. Ms. Bennett, do you use the name Elena Hart? Claire looks at me, warning in her eyes. I stare back until she answers. Yes, she says flat. Did you apply for a loan at Westbridge using Mr. Keller's social? Ruiz asks. Claire exhales like she's bored. Paperwork, she says. Accounts. I move things. Move things under names that aren't yours? Ruiz asks. Claire's mask cracks. I do what I have to, she says. You don't understand the mess I'm carrying. And you plan to hand it to me. I say. She turns on me, sudden heat. I plan to make us safe, she insists. Marriage makes you credible. Joint accounts make the trail respectable. You're clean, Noah. Clean credit, clean history. You were the perfect endpoint. The word endpoint lands like a funeral. Trish backs away from the table. Ruiz steps closer. Ms. Bennett, I need you to come with me, he says. Claire's mouth curves into something almost fond. Of course, she says, standing. Then she leans in and whispers so only I hear it. If I fall, you fall with me. She murmurs, and she means it. As Ruiz cuffs her, Trish stares at the tablet and says, The money already moved. The world doesn't explode the way I expect. It rearranges itself with paperwork. Ruiz escorts Claire out through the lobby. She keeps her head high like she's walking down an aisle. People in the waiting area stare. Someone whispers. Trish's hands tremble as she starts printing cancellation policies, like rules can hold back disaster. Within an hour, my phone is a machine gun. My mom calling, my dad texting, what happened? And Marin leaving a voicemail that's mostly sobs. Jay shows up at my apartment with takeout and a legal pad, like we're going to study for an exam called How to Survive Betrayal. Ruiz calls later and says Westbridge confirms multiple attempted transfers tied to Hart Consulting. We froze what we could, he says, but some funds cleared yesterday. Yesterday. I repeat, tasting the word like poison. That's when she used my documents. That's when she smiled at me over dinner and asked if I wanted extra garlic bread. The venue keeps the deposit. The photographer keeps the retainer. Every vendor has a contract with signatures that look like mine, and the burden of proving they're not becomes my new full-time job. My boss notices me shaking during an inspection and pulls me aside. Take a few days, he says, but his eyes are wary, like my personal disaster might contaminate the county. Marin comes over that night, face blotchy. She hands me a thumb drive. Claire kept backups, she whispers. Emails, spreadsheets, lists. I didn't know it was this bad. Why didn't you tell me? I ask. Marin flinches. Because she made me part of it, she says. And because I was scared. We plug in the drive. Folder after folder opens. Names, addresses, scanned IDs, payment logs, notes like low risk, easy to pressure, no family. I feel sick realizing those aren't categories, they're people. Jay scrolls, jaw clenched. Noah, he says, this isn't just about you. I nod slowly, because the grief in my chest is being joined by something colder. Responsibility. Then a new file pops up at the bottom, dated today, titled, Noah, Contingency. I click it, and the first line is my full social security number. Under it, Claire has written one sentence. If he resists, use the tax audit angle. The next week is a blur of holds, freezes, and forms. I file a police report. I file an identity theft affidavit. I sit in a Westbridge office while a woman in a cardigan explains next steps, like she's reading a recipe. I change every password I've ever had. I set up a credit freeze that feels like building a bunker around my name. Ruiz meets me at the station and walks me through what happens next. You're a victim, he says, like I need permission to believe it. But you're also a key witness. That thumb drive matters. I hand over copies and keep copies. It feels wrong, like hoarding evidence makes me complicit, but Jace reminds me. Paperwork is armor now. I start therapy because the nights are the worst. Marin calls every day, sometimes to apologize, sometimes to ask if Claire said anything in custody. I want to hate her, but her guilt is real, and it looks like shaking hands and ruined sleep. One afternoon, Marin shows up with a small box. Inside is the wedding ring Claire bought for me, the one I never got to wear. She kept it at my place, Marin says. Like it was already done. I hold the ring and feel grief hit in a clean wave. Not because I miss Claire exactly, but because I miss the version of my life where I didn't have to question my own memories. I take the ring back to the jeweler and return it. The clerk doesn't ask questions. I'm grateful. Ruiz calls that night. We identified several victims connected to those IDs, he says. Some are terrified. Some are relieved. A few want to speak to you. Me? I ask. You're the one person Claire tried to make legitimate, Ruiz says. Hearing you say this was fraud helps them believe they're not crazy. So I meet them, one at a time, in a bland office with a box of tissues. I listen. I apologize for something I didn't choose, because it still feels like my shadow touched theirs. When I get home, my mail slot clicks, and a thick envelope slides onto my floor. Return address, IRS. My hands go numb before I even open it. The letter begins. We are initiating an audit based on reported inconsistencies. The IRS envelope is real enough to ruin my appetite, but Ruiz confirms what my gut already suspects. It's a scare tactic. The letterhead is slightly off, the phone number routes to a prepaid line, and the case ID doesn't match any federal format. Claire wrote, tax audit angle, because fear makes people sign faster than love ever could. That knowledge doesn't make me feel better. It makes me feel clearer. 2 days after what would have been our wedding, I drive past the venue anyway. I don't know why. Maybe my brain needs to see the place where the life I imagined was supposed to begin. The parking lot is empty. The roses are gone. The big glass doors reflect only my car and a guy in a wrinkled jacket who looks older than he did a month ago. I sit there and let myself grieve the simple things. The first dance we practiced in socks, the stupid cake tasting where she laughed with frosting on her nose, the way I used to believe planning meant safety. Then I let myself feel relief, because the alternative was waking up married to a lie that could have taken years to untangle. Jace texts me a photo of his dog wearing my abandoned bow tie with the caption, "Still time to meet someone normal." I laugh, and it's the first laugh that feels like mine. Therapy teaches me that trust isn't blind. It's a choice backed by boundaries. I learned practical habits I wish I'd learned earlier. Freeze your credit when you start combining finances. Keep your own login recovery. Verify wiring changes by calling a known number, and never hand over documents just because someone says it's faster. Marin and I don't become friends, but we become honest. She helps Ruiz contact more victims and testifies about Hart Consulting's paperwork trail. Some nights she calls and cries, and I listen, because accountability isn't the same as punishment. My apartment feels quieter now. Safer. I hang the returned ring receipt on my fridge like a trophy. Not revenge, just proof that I got my name back.